Hi, this is Dirt Farmer Maggie from DirtFarmerJ.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make Tom Ka Gai soup. It's one of our very favorites. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining me today in Maggie's Kitchen. We're going to make Tom Ka Gai soup. And you think, maybe you've never heard of that? I'd never heard of it until we went to a restaurant in our community that was a little Thai restaurant called the Thai House. And I asked the woman who owned the restaurant, I said, I've never had Thai food before. I don't have any idea what to order. She says, well, what do you like? And I said, well, I like sweet stuff and I like soups. And she says, I've got the perfect soup for you. It's Tom Ka Gai soup. She brought it out. I tasted it. And it was love at first taste and has been ever since. Well, finally I decided, you know what? I wonder if I could make that soup. So I went to the Asian section in our local grocery store and I saw Taste of Thai. And it is a spice packet mix for coconut soup, coconut ginger soup. Now you could buy a spice packet like this for this soup, but all of these ingredients in here have to be removed from the soup before you can eat it. They're not going to hurt you, but they might physically hurt you. Some of them are hard to chew, they're hard, they are sharp. So you'd have to remove all this. Well, Taste of Thai has done something wonderful for us by making spice packets that have all of that already softened up and ready to use. Each one of these packets makes enough soup for about 2 people, but I always make the double recipe because this is great soup that's left over some rice. You'll use it for days afterwards. So what we have here on the counter, let me explain you what we have. We have chicken. These are chicken thighs that have been cut into strips. Raw chicken. We have some tomatoes cut pretty large. You don't want them real small because you don't want them to dissolve. I've got about 1/4 of an onion cut up here. I have some cabbage chunked up and some cilantro for garnish. And for the base of the soup, we have chicken broth, which I made out of my own powdered chicken broth. 1 teaspoon per cup of water, and you can make your own chicken broth and not have to buy the cans. And then I have 2 cans of coconut milk. Now, you can see on this coconut milk that is pretty solid at the top. And based on my past experience, as soon as I get this clump off the top, there's going to be a bunch of water down in the bottom. And every one I've ever opened has been like this, so I'm just assuming this is how it works. So you're going to have to scrape everything out and recombine the liquid to the solids. This one isn't as bad. See there? Maybe it was a newer one. I have no idea. Get those out of there. And then I'm going to use this whisk and just whisk this back into a mixture. Okay, I have the coconut milk mixed back together here. So we're going to put that into our pan along with our chicken broth. And because it is pretty thick, I'm using my spatula here so that I can get it all out. Put it into the pot. And then I'm going to put my chicken broth in. And this is enough for 2 recipes. So this is, I've already doubled the recipe. Now we're going to go over to the stove and put it on for some heat. Okay, so I have the pot over here on the stove with the heat on underneath. Pretty high heat because you want to get it to heat up pretty quickly. And you'll need to stir it, not constantly, but make sure that you keep coming back and stirring on a pretty regular basis. While that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and open up these spice packets. Now this stuff is really, really thick. It's almost like peanut butter. And so you want to cut the corner off and then just start squeezing from the end of the bag. Okay, I've got all of the paste in there now, so I'm going to start stirring. And as the liquid heats up, that paste will melt down. You don't have to get it to a rolling boil, but you want to make sure that it's nice and hot. So you can see if I stop stirring it for a second, it starts bubbling a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and put the chicken in. Again, you're just going to put it in raw. You can use a chicken breast. I prefer thighs. I think they're much more flavorful. But we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. Now, when I used to make soup, chicken noodle soup, stuff like that, I always cooked the chicken first and then put it in the soup. This is brilliant. You let the broth cook the chicken instead of you cooking it, and it's going to come out so much more tender. Now, how are you going to know when it's done? When it's white. If it still has some pink on it, it's not done all the way. So make sure not to undercook your chicken. Now, the rest of this stuff, the recipe doesn't call for, but this is what the lady at the Thai house uses. She puts onions in hers and kind of coarsely chopped so that you get chunks in them. You're going to still feel a little bit of a snap when you bite into that onion. It's going to be delicious, and you can put everything in right now except for the garnishes. So the last thing I'm going to put in is coarsely chopped cabbage. If you don't like cabbage, don't put it in there. But I think if you tried it, you'd love it in this soup. It's going to be al dente. It's still going to have a little bit of a crunch, a little bit of texture to it, but it adds a wonderful flavor to the soup. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cook this down until it gets till all the soup is, or all the chicken is white. You can see it's starting to get white there. You can see some pieces of chicken. But we're going to let it cook, probably another 10 minutes before we add anything else. Okay, so you can see this has come to a really nice rolling boil, and all that chicken in there is getting cooked. You can see it there. It's nice and cooked. Now, one thing to mention about chicken thighs as opposed to chicken breasts are all going to turn completely white. Chicken thighs have dark and white meat, so you will have some chicken that still has a little bit of a brownish color, but it is done. So what I'm going to do now is turn the fire off. We don't want to overcook. And what you don't want to do is disintegrate your tomatoes and your garnish with a really, really hot boiling soup. So you kind of put those in at the end here. So we're just going to slide these tomatoes in there and stir them up a little bit. And they'll get plenty warm in that soup with as hot as it is right now. And we'll go ahead and put the cilantro in. And just stir it up so it's kind of evenly dispersed. And this is going to be some wonderful eating. Okay, you can see there, that's a very colorful, beautiful soup. It's eye appealing as well as taste appealing. And so what we're going to do is dish some up. We've made some rice in our rice cooker and formed it into a half a bowl type shape. We're going to pour some of this soup on top of there. You can do more rice, less rice, whatever your taste buds tell you. Make sure I get some chicken in there. And I'm going to give it a taste. I know what it's going to taste like, and it's going to be good. Oh my gosh. It's limey from the spice packet. It's rich with the chicken taste. I can taste the cilantro. It is just beyond divine. If you find this video to be helpful, please like it and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you ring the bell so that you'll get notified every time a new video comes out on Dirt Farmer J or Maggie's Kitchen, or a new channel we're going to be starting, The Maker Next Door. Stay tuned for that and see you next time.